Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host, Donny Coram, the Foreclosure Deals Coach, and this is the show where we discuss how investors just like you can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal. Well, it is summer buying season. And what does that mean? Well, the weather's getting nice. It's finally warm out. I got to tell you, every winter here seems longer to me than the one before. And I'm not complaining. I live in one of those beautiful places in the world. U.S. News just voted Colorado Springs one of the top 5 cities to live in again. We've got a bunch of military bases, some great outdoor activity to do. So please don't take this as a complaint, but I got to be honest, I am just not a big fan of being out in the cold. So when things start to turn around here in late May and early June, the kids are out of school and the real estate market literally starts to heat up. We have a huge amount of momentum coming into that April-May timeframe that builds a lot into June, July, August, even September is pretty hot, and then starts to slow down a little bit in October before calming down to a lull, not complete stop, but a lull in the November and December months, and then repeating that cycle each and every single year. Why is that important to you as an investor? We're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. But before we get into that, I do want to cover the mindset shift. It's got to happen with people who are looking to become foreclosure investors. See, this is not really a seasonal business. The idea behind any investment, just as a for instance, you don't necessarily invest in the stock market in a certain season. Would you maybe change stock? Sure. As a for instance, I'm an investor in a mutual fund, an index fund called Cold. And it basically is the inverse of natural gas. So what that means is when natural gas is going up, it goes down. And when natural gas is going down, it goes up, etc. Okay. How does that apply to real estate? Well, we have a seasonal adjustment we have to work on for the retail side of pricing during the colder months. It goes down a little bit because demand drops just slightly and there are less buyers. It is not enough to stop investing during those time frames, but it is something you have to note and adjust seasonally, meaning you got to buy it a little bit better because you probably will be selling it a little bit lower. Well, this is quite the opposite when we were working into the spring and summer months. The clients who bought properties in the early second quarter are now coming on the market or on the market now, and we're expecting that to work in reverse. So the mindset shifted. It's always a good time to invest. It's just that your numbers alter a little bit during the seasonality adjustments of Colorado and the surrounding areas. How does a rookie investor figure that out? Well, guys, the goal is that you don't have to, okay? When you bring me on as your professional foreclosure investment coach, I'm going to help you through the process of finding the deal. This is a figure question or analysis question that we're dealing with right now. So we've got to learn how to do proper analysis. So after the remodel, which is generally slated from somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks that we're planning to spend in construction, we need to determine where we're going to be listing the property for the maximum return on investment. Now, maximum return on investment does not necessarily mean it's going to be the highest price you could get for the house. It actually more means the lowest days on market, so you're reducing the amount of time at the right price for the property, getting sold relatively quickly, 30 days or less, and getting your money back so you are prepared to do your next deal. The idea of this is not doing one deal, although I really tout how you can do one deal at minimum with me for a minimum profit of $25,000. That's our objective. The real goal here is the foreclosure profit system that I've created can help people to continually do deals, ideally one at a time when you're getting started, allowing you to do 4 deals per year consistently at an average profit of $25,000, which is going to put a 6-figure windfall into your pocket while you maintain your day job that you can then use that capital to invest in another business or buy passive income rentals or buy commercial and etc. So it's all pretty well laid out. The key is you've got to take the first step and become a coaching client of the foreclosure profit system so I can walk you through every step to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal. The most pressing reason why people don't do this, in my experience, comes down to fear. Like, what if this is not legit? What if I don't make any money on the deal? What if we don't find a deal? Well, here's the thing. My entire business is locating deals for my clientele. This is what I do all day, every day. And if I let you in a little secret, it happens to be my favorite part of the process. I'm a deal hunter at my core. I just love that part of the process, working with sellers, working with wholesalers, negotiating great deals, getting the quotes. I enjoy knowing what the construction costs are going to be so we can accurately predict what you're going to make on the deal because we have done our homework prior. None of this is left to chance, which is the big circumstantial difference between real estate investing and like stock market investing, which has trend analysis and you can look at the market overall. But in the end, do you have full control over what the stock market does? You do not. However, in the real estate market, although we do see occasional swings, we don't see as many swings as we would see in the stock market. What that means to you is it's more predictable. There's a general number, not even trend that we're looking at. There's some trend adjustment, okay? But there's a number we're looking at on that property based on the after repaired value, or ARV for short, that we know with a relative certainty what that property is going to sell for. So we're not trying to figure it out or doing some, witchcraft or magic or any of that stuff. It's a very predictable market. If you know what something is going to sell for, then you can do some basic math in my keep it simple, stupid formula, allowing you to determine the acquisition price plus the rehab price, subtracted from your after repaired value leaves your gross profit. Then you divide the gross profit in half to leave your net profit. When I say the numbers that fast, it's difficult to keep up with it, and I understand that. So we're going to break it down into a deal we literally went under contract on this week. We're not closing on it till next week, but a new client just picks this deal up. I'm gonna be really excited to have him on the show right after he buys the property. But let's go through it today. We're going to start with the address. It's a good place to start, and I apologize, I got a lot of address working, but it's 928 East 13th Street in Pueblo. Okay, so let's start there. I'm gonna pop my screen open and show you very quickly how we do an analysis on this. Now, listen, I know this is the most entertaining stuff. Okay, I know that you're looking for the entertainment value of real estate flipping because the flipping shows have made flipping seem like it's entertaining or fun or etc. Listen, it's a business, plain and simple. Okay, and parts of this business are super entertaining. Okay, for me, the most entertaining part of it is locating the deal, but it's a process and a job for most people. Okay, so you need to understand that I'm trying to take the hard work out of this part so you can do the easier stuff and keep the profit, which is the most fun part of all, right? So let's look at this from Zillow's perspective right out of the gate. I'm going to open up another screen here so you all can see what I am seeing. Here we go. And we don't trust Zillow's data as far as we can throw it. Okay, that's step one. It's keeping in mind that Zillow is generally inaccurate, primarily because they are looking to list properties themselves. They are also looking to buy properties. They had a whole buying division. So Zillow is never going to give you an accurate assessment of value, and it generally is operating off of a fundamental false data set. Okay. Unfortunately for Zillow, they tried to trade on that data set and they ended up losing a couple $2 billion trying to trade on their own fictional data. So the takeaway from that is you're not going to get useful information from Zillow except for photos, square footage, sometimes even, etc. So here's what we have. And as you can see, probably doesn't look so bad, does it? Inside is, it's ugly now. It's actually a little uglier now because it's more lived in, but it's really more dirty than it is trashed, okay? It just needs to be nicely cleaned up, and we can theoretically sell this property as it sits if it were nicely cleaned up. We're not going to do that because the objective is to gentrify, if you will, the city of Pueblo. For a very long time, we have looked at Pueblo as the bastard stepchild of real estate investing, but we're starting to realize because Colorado Springs has gotten so expensive that there are a ton of opportunities in the Pueblo market. So this is the raw data, if you will. We're just looking at it from a property standpoint. As you can see, the paint is okay. The flooring is much worse now, but still okay. Overall, this is a nice property. One thing that's not being reflected in these photos is the exterior is really badly sun damaged. It's got cracking wood panels, etc. You can't really see that in the photos from when this was purchased, but over the years that has not fared well. So we have to build that into the budget. But understand, no conditional issues are grounds to not buy a property. Okay, all the issues that are fixable, anything on a property can ultimately be repaired. right? And guys, if you're here and you're watching, you've got some questions, I'm not covering some ground here, hop into the comments. This is live. If you're watching this right now, this is live. If you're watching a recording, obviously not the case, but even afterwards, comment on the video. I'd be happy to answer your questions if I'm not covering it now. But the point is, that's the first round. We are looking at the property. We have identified a deal. Okay. In this situation, we are doing this deal where the client is going to be purchasing the property for $145,000. Okay. So that's step one. We're buying it. We have a built-in acquisition fee that I charge the clientele as my upside. Okay, so we're buying the property for a total of $145,000. Next step is, what are we going to sell it for? Well, the house has a bit of a problem. In addition to needing to be remodeled, it also is only a 2-bedroom right now, which is less than desirable. However, it has this massive lower basement area. It's a total of 1,600 square feet. The top floor is 800. The bottom floor is 800. Kind of obvious. But the bottom floor has this big wide open space that we're going to frame into a smaller bedroom, so we can go to a 3-bedroom property on this deal. Okay, so we're buying it for $145,000, and we've got to do some construction work. Let's speak to that right now, the construction work. We're hopping into Deal Check, which is my analysis software. If you want to check it out, go to ftcdealcheck.com. It is free for the basic program, which is generally enough for most people. But if you're trying to step up your game, you may go the full paid thing. I'm going to just pop that up. Check out Deal Check when you get a shot. That's ftcdealcheck.com. I've already done the analysis on this property, obviously, because we pitched it to a client. We do the analysis prior to presenting it to my client, so it looks like a solid deal before we get to that point. And I stand corrected a little bit. We are selling this to him for $142,500. So I did say $145,000 earlier. Let me change that number now. Okay. Then we need to look at what? We got to find out what stuff in the neighborhood is selling for, and then we need to determine the rehab budget. So let's start by determining what things are selling for in the neighborhood as a 2-1 for now, because although we're planning to make it a 3-1, the software is going to find 2 1s because we want to be conservative. If we left it just as is, what we'll be selling it for. So here's 1.04 miles away. All right. So 0.04 miles, if a mile is 5,280 feet, this is 0.04 of that. So 250 feet away from this, literally a well-placed rock could hit this property. If you had a pretty good Tom Brady-esque arm, you might be able to hit this property from this location. Okay. Inside, they remodeled it nicely. It's very pretty. Can't help but notice this looks more like a rendering than it does real. And that's a lot of what we're working on right now, is doing renderings of our properties prior to completion, so we can really determine what they're going to look like and start marketing the property for sale prior. Total square foot of this is actually not 1,100, it's 2,200 square feet. We are 1,600. So that's not a great comp on the scale of things, but it gives you an idea on what a fixed up property can go for. Here's another one, 0.65 miles away, 1,272 square feet, went for $250, right? It's a 3-1, which is our plan. Right? It is nicely remodeled. Nice gray paint, updated cabinets, countertops, etc. Sold for $250 in April, so relatively recent. We're looking for comps generally that were within the last 90 days. Okay, and Pueblo is in the process of a gentrification cycle. A lot of people are moving down to Pueblo, and obviously people who move down to Pueblo would prefer to buy a nicer, more updated house. That's just the nature of how the market works. Here's another one that sold in the dead of winter in February. Right? This property, nicely updated, sold for $225,000. Okay. So over and over again, we're finding comps between the 230s and 245 range who sold recently in the marketplace. And that's what we are using to determine the value of our property. Is there a neighborhood enhancement there? Sure. The reality is there are nicer neighborhoods in every part of the country versus ugly neighborhoods. But the idea behind real estate investing is even the uglier neighborhoods are eventually going to be remodeled and sold. So we've got to get out in front of that and do the work today, if you will. So as those neighborhoods gentrify, we're going to benefit from that growth because we created it, right? If you look at a neighborhood like Pikes Peak Park, just as a for instance, Pikes Peak Park, when I was buying back in the day, was selling for $80,000, and now today it's going in the 400 range because back in the day, everybody told me, well, that's a really crappy neighborhood. Nobody's going to buy a house there. Okay, that's just not the case. The comps are accurate today, and they're going to get more accurate as the neighborhood gets fully gentrified. You just got to be able to look past the bad neighborhoods, not to say that you're not looking for homes in bad neighborhoods, just to say that we tend to get better deals on the homes in sketchy neighborhoods. That's just kind of how it is, right? So it's a byproduct of success when you can look past that and realize that the future value of that property far exceeds the current value. All right, let's go back to deal check. I want to show you how we came up with our numbers here. So we are using a very conservative 225 value on this because there's no benefit to going to it is no benefit at all to going to a higher value and then coming in lower than that, at least not for me. We want to go very conservative on this number. So although we found comps that were going for 230, 240, and even 250, we're going to go very conservative on this deal check and say that we're going to sell it for 225. Okay, so let's head back over to our property analysis. We're buying it for 142. We say it's got an after repaired value of 225. The next thing we really care about is what we're going to spend on it. Because you need to understand that every house can be repaired. Every house can be fixed up and gorgeous. It's not a question of any house can be pretty. It's what it's going to cost to get there. Right? Does that make sense? People get it. There's a visceral response when you first see a house that needs a ton of work. It's frightening at first, is it not? Does something stand up? Oh my gosh, I would hate to have to live here. I would hate to have to deal with this property. That's normal. Okay, but you've got to look past that and really start figuring out what we're going to do to the property to get it into rehab condition. So to get there, we've got to look at the rehab budget, which I'm really struggling to find right now. Here we go, property description. Nope. Purchase worksheet, should have done it. So sorry, guys. This is I've done this 1,000 times. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I found it. Here's the rehab cost. Now, we put in a total number, but then we break it down into its parts. One of the things I mentioned is that the siding is shot. I haven't updated this yet in the system, but the siding is shot. That would be, we got a quote for that for $11,000. Obviously, you won't need paint anymore because we're replacing the siding, so I can get rid of that. We were first maybe thinking about just updating the siding and then painting it. Instead, we opted to replace it with stucco because it's going to look and feel better, and a lot of the houses are already stucco. We did $1,000 for landscaping, $4,000 for interior paint, $6,000 for flooring, $5,000 to update the kitchen, the bathrooms, $4,000, electrical $1,000, plumbing $1,000, appliances $1,000. Sorry, $2,500, and the HVAC definitely going to need an update. The furnace is old, so $3,500. We come up with $39,000. Okay, from there it automatically adds a wiggle factor at 10% because we want to get worst case scenario. Something goes wrong. We want to be on top of that going wrong, not on the bottom of it. Okay, so and again, I don't even believe we're going to sell this for $225. I want to point out that generally speaking, we are usually 10 to 15,000 below what I actually think retail is going to be. But if we can live with the low end retail numbers, we can obviously live with if we make more than on it, right? We then go 4 months of holding costs, etc. That leaves $23,241 in profit. Now the objective is, remember, 25,000, but this makes the assumption that if everything goes wrong, right, we have to hold it for the full 4 months. Maybe we sell it sooner. We have to use the entire 10% repair escrow overage. That's another $4,000. Okay, we only sell it for the minimal amount of $225. You guys might remember Samantha. We did a property at 870 square feet in Pueblo, not too far from this one. We just got an offer on that at $225, and it has half the square footage of this one. Okay, so it stands to reason we should be much higher on this property. But if all things go wrong, you can see here that our profit projection is $23,000 if everything goes wrong. This makes us a viable deal because it's close enough to the $25,000 to be a viable deal. Okay, we're not looking to, what you see on the flipping shows, guys, is people who are looking to knock it out of the park on every single deal. What I mean by that is you hear about profits of 40, 50, 80 grand. Man, I love when that happens. I've had several deals where I've made over 6 figures on the deal. It's a great feeling, but it is very difficult to build a flipping business when you're looking for 6-figure returns. On the flip side of that, if you can be consistent, if you can do a deal every quarter, like my students are being trained to do, you're in a better spot because you're getting that consistent revenue stream. 25,000 on average per deal times 4 deals per year is 100 grand. You use that revenue stream to invest in other assets. Maybe you do throw that into a mutual fund and grow your wealth that way, and or maybe a dividend producing stock that's producing an income. Maybe you buy more real estate with it, buy and hold stuff that's throwing off a monthly revenue stream for you that way. Okay, the idea behind flipping or day trading houses, as we are doing, is that you're making money on the activity, Okay, you're make your money when you buy, but the fact that you're constantly moving in and out of deals is going to be turned into income, and that income is going to make your life better and help you to achieve the financial, location, and time freedom that people are looking for through real estate investing. Okay, I'm not telling you it's easy or fun. I'm telling you literally anybody can do it. It's a matter of committing to the process. Okay, not the get rich quick scheme stuff that you see out there with all in Facebook land, etc. I made $1 million a year flipping houses. Well, I did, okay, but it took a decade of building my systems to get to the point where that was feasible. Okay, you have to get started somewhere. You got to walk before you run. And for most people, it comes down to finding your first deal, which is a full-time job in and of itself. And then you got to deal with analysis paralysis. You got to figure out how you're going to fund it. You got to figure out who's going to fix it up for you. And you got to figure out how you're going to get it sold cost effectively. Instead of going through all those processes, you could bring me on as your real estate investment coach. I can find the deal for you, help you to analyze it with confidence. This is what I do for a living. We can fund those deals with my lenders, fix it with my contractors, and then sell it while you keep the profit. It really is a no-brainer opportunity if you understand how this program actually works. Does that make sense, guys? Hop in the comments if you have any questions. You know, I'm so passionate about what I do here. I forget that it's simple for me because I do it all the time. But I know for somebody who's just getting started, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, right? There's a little bit of apprehension from doing your first deal. I can't get you past the apprehension. All I can tell you is that with the proper guidance, you can and will make money doing fix and flips, especially if you got somebody to help you find it for you, right? And that's my gig, is to find the deals for you so you can maintain your day job, do what you're doing to keep producing an income, and have this side hustle income making you 25 to 100 grand a year on top of what you're already making. Right? With very little time investment from you. Sound too good to be true? I get it. I understand why from the outside it's like there's got to be a catch. The catch is you got to take the first step. The catch is you got to invest in coaching. Okay. And the catch is when the deal shows up, you've got to be in the mental mindset to push past the obvious fear that comes from everybody first doing a deal and do the deal anyway. Right? And if you can do all of those things, then that's the catch. Most people, if we're being honest, cannot push past their own limitations, right? They need some hand-holding. They need some help. I get that. As a professional business coach, I'm going to help you through that as much as I can. But I'll be honest with you, I have lots of students who are still working through the mental gymnastics of actually doing a deal. The good news is my program is guaranteed until you make $25,000 or more. So if you don't do a deal right away, that's okay. I'm here for you to help you through a deal because I don't want anybody paying me and not ultimately doing a deal at some point in the future. You know, it's a matter of your commitment to the program is the amount of commitment I can add back to you. Some people get it done in like 30 days because they're gung-ho, they're ready to go, they got the capital, right? And others need more time to get prepared mentally and physically to do this. You know, either is fine by me. All I ask is once you join the program, you take my advice, we move forward and make money together. My team and I get compensated for every deal that comes through the system. So we have a motivation to make sure that my clients are doing deals. It's a very simple synergistic relationship. All right. Well, that's our show for today, guys. I really wanted to, show you the process of analyzing a deal. And I know it's not fun or sexy or all that entertaining, but I appreciate the people who hung out through this and worked with me. If you have questions, please comment below. I will reach out to you. I'm happy to talk to you about it. If you're interested in actually doing this, okay, slide up in my DMs. I'll get you a link where you can schedule a time with me where I'm not going to hard sell you on coaching. I'm not in that business. I'm going to explain in more specific detail than I can do here exactly how the program works and how you can benefit from me coaching you through your first deal. And if you want to do the coaching, I don't sell it. I simply ask. Okay. If it's something you want to do, we'd love to have you on the team, help you to do a deal, introduce you to my team so we can get you started. We will find a deal for you. Again, it's summer buying season. So more than likely, this guy that we're doing the deal for, he's been with the program for about a week. Okay. So in about a week to 10 days from you signing up, because there are so many deals coming in the funnel right now, you will be in your first deal. If that scares you, it should, but understand that you're not doing this by yourself. You're doing this with a team of people, including myself, to walk you through every part of the phase. So every phase in the process, so you're not by yourself. You're not figuring it out. You've got some assistance, some guidance. You are going to be profitable. And ideally, you're going to get addicted to this and want to keep doing it over and over and over again because it's such a great way to generate some additional income for your household. You know, a lot of additional income for your household, life-changing income for your household. Okay. So I'm going to open it up for questions for a little bit. See if there's anybody who wants to comment. If you're out there, say hi. It makes me feel good that you're watching. I can see that you're watching. So hit me up, say hi if you got a moment. Not happening, huh? All right, that's all right. It's okay. Listen, I really appreciate you guys tuning in each and every single week. This is an honor. It's an honor and a privilege to be your foreclosure deals coach. We are really building some impressive systems right now. Like every other system, we started out at a certain level, but as we add more clients to the system, it's getting increasingly better. We're finding better deals. Like we're going more seller direct on our deals. We have better contractors, better crews as we've grown. Everything about the system has increased in value since it started almost 2 years ago. So, I've been coming at you every single week on this stream because I really wanted to keep a live face to the name, let you know that this is a real thing, but it's going to get much better from here. And I really hope that you'll be a part of it. I'm excited to have you guys on board once you're ready to join up. With that, this is Donny Coram, your foreclosure deals coach. Thanking you so much for tuning in and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.